Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Builders series. I am your host, Ace Randall. Thank you guys for tuning in. I do apologize that we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but you know how I do. I'm going to push on and I'm going to go full stream ahead. So we're a little delayed, but we're not denied. So we're going to go ahead and get started tonight. I'm just going to kind of come on really quick with a brief inspirational thought. I want you to know that your name carries weight and has purpose behind it. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of people that names carry weight and that have become moguls in Fortune 500 companies. For an example, Air Jordan, which is the last name of Michael Jordan. All these names that I'm going to list are names of people that use their last names to create their legacies and actually built their Fortune 500 companies: Abercrombie and Fitch, Baskin Robbins, Bentley, Bloomingdale's, Burberry, Chanel, Christian Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, Walt Disney, Eddie Bauer, Fisher Price, Ford Motor Company, Gucci, Hammond, Oregon, Hennessy, Hershey, the Hershey Company. J.C. Penney is actually the initials of James Cash Penney. Interestingly enough, Jacuzzi is actually created by the Jacuzzi brothers. Kroger, Liz Claiborne, which actually named her brand after herself. Louis Vuitton, just same thing, named it after himself. Macy's, Maybach, McDonald's, Nestle, and the list goes on. What am I saying in that? I know we spend a lot of money in making these names great and investing in their product and service, but you have the ability to create legacy yourself with your name. Your name can carry just as much weight and access as these other individuals do. So I want to encourage you to take a look at your name. I want you to think about your name and think about how that can be your brand, how that can be your business name or be your product name or your school name. Interestingly enough, I actually went to a grade school that was named after an astronaut. I'm sure some of us have some sort of great leader in the world and they named the school after them or street. Your name carries weight and it has great importance to it. And so as you're thinking about you building your brand and building your legacy, I want you to think about your name, because eventually your name will be in lights. Your name will be seen on billboards and seen in magazines and on television because you decided to do something about building legacy. So I want to just kind of come on and encourage you to know that your name has weight. It has power connected to it. If you build legacy, that adds power to it. So as we get ready to get started, we're far past the hours spent. I do apologize for the delay, and I do have my guest on with me. He is, been patient with me as we endure these little challenges. But we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest. So just stay tuned as we introduce our guest of the hour.
Legacy builder, Nico Gray. CEO of Self-Love Enterprises, which consist of community activism, Self-Love Water and Beverage Company, Self-Love Apparel, and the author of children books. Stay tuned as we experience the journey of how Nico Gray built his legacy.
Hello, my friend, Mr. Nico. Thank you for coming on with
What's
us
going
tonight.
on? Hey, what's going on?
Thank you so much. Hey, we making it work tonight.
I know, right?
Little couple of challenges, but we're pushing stream ahead.
Yeah, a little delays, but you can't stop greatness. So it's part of the process.
Indeed. Absolutely. Before I get started with the interview, I just wanted to kind of let you know how I ended up meeting Mr. Gray. Interestingly enough, he was actually an Uber driver for me. He is multifaceted, which is one of the many things that he does that he, pertains to wealth. And we just had a conversation, and it just was like, we were connected instantly, and he was telling me about his life and his businesses and what he's doing in life, and I'm telling him about mine, and then with other business and services I had, and it just connected us. And
Right.
after listening to his story, didn't realize that I was going to do this series, and I asked him if he'd be willing to come on to share his story, because I think his story is really a great one that's going to inspire people. So thank you, my brother, for coming on with us tonight.
No problem. I appreciate it. You know, I'm like anti social media, but hey, anything for you, bro. You're a good brother, so I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Showing love.
Indeed. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We know your name. We heard a little bit in the intro of your businesses, but let's go back to the beginning a little bit. Tell us about where you're from and kind of like your upbringing a little bit, and then we'll kind of dive more into your legacy building.
Well, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, the 513. If anybody never know where Cincinnati is, it's Cincinnati, Ohio. I grew up in Avondale. Avondale is kind of like in the heart of Cincinnati. I started out, running around in the streets. I always had a love for business. I started my first business when I was 13 years old. That was a candy store. My mom was an entrepreneur. Wow. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Starting the candy store at 13 years old. I live right across the street from the park. So it was interesting because most of my friends, we all wanted to have around the park, and it was just like, hey, like we need to go to the candy store because as kids you need candy to give you that fuel that you need to continue to play. And I was like, hey man, we tired of it's cutting into our playing time. We got to walk up the street, risk of being shot, or the police stopping us, unnecessary stuff out. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna open up a candy store, and I did very well. And that ran for about like 4+ years.
Wow.
And so yeah, that was, I say, the start of my entrepreneurship. But
nice.
before that, I got some exposure through my great grandfather. He was I watched him sell watermelon, so that was kind of the start of it. Being a young boy, traveling across town just for him and his friend to sell watermelons. So I think that's where I got majority of my inspiration from.
Wow, that's amazing. And interestingly enough, some families, some people that are entrepreneurs don't have that example of entrepreneurship before them. You said your mother was an entrepreneur, and it kind of got you to do a candy business at a young age, and then you saw your grandfather. That was amazing. So at 13, what, I know you said it was candy, but what inspired you to do the candy? Was it that you want money, or how did you think at that young of an age to capitalize on kids across the street at a park playing around, and they need to refuel themselves and to do this as a business at 13?
I think it was just more the love for it. You know what I'm saying? Just doing the impossible. You know what I'm saying? Creating solutions for the problems that we lack. So I understood that that we wanted to maximize the most amount of our playing time as possible. And
right.
being that we all, as kids, you got to go in the house at a certain time when the street lights go down. And we want to play in the park as much as possible. So, hey, I don't want to walk 30 minutes, I'll say 20 to 30 minutes to the candy store and then 20 minutes back. You know what I'm saying? That's an hour out of our playing time. And it just was just something fun to do. It was a hobby. I mean, I watched my mom start her daycare from nothing. I watched my father be an entrepreneur. Both of my fathers, stepfather and real father. I watched my grandfather. So it was in my blood. It was in my DNA, which is destined for me to do. So it's just more of a hobby to me. It's like tapping into my childhood imagination and creativity, and seeing how I can just take something and make it out of nothing. Take nothing and make it out of something, I should say.
Right. Absolutely. And that's what entrepreneurship is, finding the problem and bringing a solution. And that's exactly what you did. And that's amazing. So you did that between the ages of 13 and what age?
Well, I did it to 13 up until, I'll say, like my senior year of high school. And then I just started dabbling into other different things. You know what I'm saying? When you tap into other different worlds, you start dabbling into I sold the drugs because it was like, all right, cool. I know how to do it. It was easy. I had to connect. You know what I'm saying? But then you realize that there's a consequence to everything that you do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And either you go to jail or you get killed for things like that. So I was like, yo, this can't be the end all be all. So I wanted to instead of using my gift for the bad, I wanted to use it for the good. So I wanted to figure out something that I was inspired by, that I wanted to transition into something. So that's what that was.
Wow, that's amazing. So what was the what exactly was the light bulb moment that made you decide that I'm running the streets? I know you gave a brief on that, but was there a particular situation that occurred where you getting ready to go to jail, or was your life at stake that was just like, what, my life is not worth this. I'm going to invest my time and energy into something that's lucrative and legal.
I mean, it all started with watching my brothers and cousins and stuff go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because you want the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, money make the world go around. So it was all driven by the money. The flashy, the cars, clothes, the girls, all that good stuff. And just with that being said, just knowing like, all right, cool, like, yeah, it sound good, it sound peaches and cream, but is it worth it? You know what I'm saying? And then going to the school, me being able to go to a certain school, giving me a lot of different exposure, having a lot of people believing in me and supporting me, knowing like, yo, I can't let them down. Not only let myself down, but let them down. And I know I was raised better than that. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that I had the tools to transition to be an entrepreneur and be great at what I wanted to be great at. And just knowing that's not what I was here to be. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't born to be in somebody's cell. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't born to be on somebody's block.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to look over their shoulder to make some money that is not worth it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to inspire other people to live their truth, have self-love within themselves, be great at what they do. You know what I'm saying? Love what they do, be passionate at it. So I just wanted to show a different avenue and show little boys and girls who look like me that you don't have to do this in order to achieve a certain level of success or greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to sell drugs to become whatever you want to become. You can start something from a little bit of nothing, but just continue to believe in yourself and double up and double up and double up. And eventually other people will see your potential and invest in you. And that's what I did. So, yeah.
Wow. And which segues me into my next question about self-love. And it sounds like out of your experience of, doing the not so right thing, and
Right.
being out there in the street and having that experience. And I believe that every experience that we endure in life is all a part of our purpose. It's all a part of our destiny. There is a root connection to what we're going to do in life and how we inspire others. So with that being said, you mentioned self-love, which is a part of your brand, your current brand. How did that come about? Transitioning, did it actually start when you transitioned out of high school, or did that come later on in life?
It actually came later on in life. Self-love is like my my fourth brand. So I'm basically,
Okay.
I try to create things that not only affect and benefit me, but affect and benefit other people emotionally, spiritually. I just try to promote things that is from the heart. And self-love is the purest form of me. It's my truth. It's real. It's organic. You know what I'm saying? It's as closest. It's the closest thing to my truth that I can possibly share to the world. Prior to that, it started with a brand called Inspired by Christ. So at the time, I would party a lot. You know what I'm saying? I would hang around with my cousins. We would do a lot of different things. And at that time, I needed faith. So I came up with a brand called Inspired by Christ. So at that time, I had
Wow.
Dope Boys and whoever you want to name rocking it. And that was cool because it's like, yo, like, you don't have to have this certain type of image to believe in something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I felt like I needed faith at that moment. And then after a while, you had churches hit me up and saying, hey, we want you to come to our church and we want you to donate and all this other stuff. And it became overwhelming. So I kind of like tapped out of that world. And then I couldn't really spread my message at schools because, they removed religion out of schools. So it was tough for me to speak to the
Right.
babies because I love speaking to the kids. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot when it comes to the children. And so I knew like, okay, cool. I have a sense of faith and spirituality. So now in order now I need to transition to my greatness, which I came up with the brand, the GOAT, and be the GOAT. So in order to achieve my greatness, I got to believe in myself. And from there, it was like, okay, cool. Like now I have my greatness, but I still need to understand my core. And that core is self-love. So I can't achieve my greatness and tap into my spirituality if I don't embrace who I am and love myself. And how can I love anybody else if I don't love myself? So that was the core of it: faith, greatness, and self-love. So it all intertwined. So that's where self-love kind of transpired into. It was just like me just telling my life story the best way I could, because growing up I wasn't able to express my emotions. So I had to go through like counseling and all these other different outlets in order to express my emotions. And all it did was create a lot of anxiety and depression and anger from just growing up as a child.
Wow. And that's so amazing that how your story ends up transitioning into actually being your business and your brand. We had a guest couple that was on the very first airing of the show, and there's the same way. Their marriage started them on creating the brand of being marriage CEOs, and now they're traveling across the world, empowering people in marriages, and so how your story does the same, what have you, and it's amazing. So before we get a little bit more in depth into the self-love brand, I know you mentioned that you said this is your fourth one, and so I do want to kind of go back over your history a little bit of creating brands, because I think that's what's going to inspire people, because people sometimes think that when they start something that is going to blossom and bloom overnight, that is going to, when you first put your hands to it the first time, then it's going to make millions overnight. And sometimes, you're going to have failed attempts. Sometimes, as the saying goes, if you first don't succeed, try again. The person obviously knew that on the first try, it might not work. So try again. And even on the second try, it might not work. It might take 10 times in order for it to actually come into fruition or into manifestation, or might have to do something else that'll connect you to the real thing. So kind of go back over the few things that you said that this is your fourth brand. Kind of tell us over the previous ones before you became Self Love brand.
Well, before I even, kind of like go back into it, I mean, the idea of fear and failure is what prevents people from achieving their greatness. I think with the Inspired by Christ, just going back, like I said, I needed faith. You know what I'm saying? I knew I needed to do something. I knew I didn't want to work for anybody. I knew that I was destined to be greater than just a corporate job. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Like my mom was an entrepreneur, my father was an entrepreneur, my brother's an entrepreneur. So it was just something that was just a natural gift. I mean, as a kid, before the age of 13, when I started the candy store, it was more like I just enjoyed. I remember just playing with toys. You know what I'm saying? Playing with toys and saying, I'm going to be this business guy. I'm going to be that. And I just had this great imagination. And I wrote in one of my children's books, if you take away a child's creativity, dreams, and imagination, you have the ability to destroy them at a young age. So
indeed,
as a child, I was able to just tap into like this different dimension and be able to like talk to my older self. And my older self would say, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And I remember like telling my mom, like, yo, I don't want to sleep in my room because, saying like, I'm scared. Like I'm talking to some things that I don't know what it is, but it was actually myself. So,
wow.
So just with this Inspired by Christ, that actually came up in a dream. I was asleep, and then the name Inspired by Christ just kept popping up. Inspired by Christ, Inspired by Christ. And then a whole mission statement just started like running in my head as I was asleep. And then I would wake up, and then I'll go to sleep the next day. And for about a whole month, it would constantly back to back. It'd be Inspired by Christ, until I finally woke up, wrote Inspired by Christ down on a piece of paper. And then everything that was in my dream, I was able to write that down, the whole mission statement of what Inspired by Christ meant. And once I was able to do that, it went away. And then like 2 weeks later, it popped up in my head again. And then basically God was like, hey, I want you to put these on shirts. So I never knew how to print shirts and nothing. I just went on YouTube and I Googled it. And then I went on Google. Yeah, right. I went on Google and then I hopped on YouTube. And then I found this man who sold a screen printing machine. And I hit him up on Craigslist, and he invited me to his house. Him and his wife, they ran business out of their home. And he was like, hey, look, I really want like, $1,500 for this, but he's like, I'll sell it to you for $350, man. And he was like, if you need help, I'll show you how to do everything that you need to know. Like, just call me. Don't worry about it. I got you. And from there, I just started printing my own shirts. And then I did that for about 1.5 years. And then I just said, hey, I don't want to do it no more. It just got overwhelming, and I just got a bad taste with these different churches. And then I decided to switch over to the GOAT. And it's funny because at the time, the GOAT wasn't as popular as it is today. Muhammad Ali started the greatest of all time movement. He was the guy that kind of pioneered that. And then you had LL Cool J, who came out with the album called GOAT. But the word the GOAT and be the GOAT wasn't popular until 2015. But I used to smoke hookah pretty much every single day. And when I came up with this brand, I would tell a lot of my friends at the hookah bar, like, yo, like, I'm about to come up with this brand called the GOAT. And it's in 20, and I told them in like 2012, like, yo, 2015 is the year to go. And it's gonna pop. I'm telling you, man. I'm like, look, it's like this is the next biggest wave, because I felt it. When I felt it in my spirit, I knew it was right. And it was like my childhood emotion. So I always get a lot of my confirmation from my childhood emotion because I believe children are the purest thing to God and the closest thing to God. And
Wow.
and in 2015, it became popular. Like now you hear the phrase "the GOAT" and "be the GOAT." You hear it everywhere. But I was able to trademark it and promote it, and I started that company with $67.74. I had
Wow.
one T-shirt, and I got it. I had the ink. I bought the ink, which was because I already had the machine, and I printed it on there, and I wore it on social media. And then I was walking in my old hood, and this guy was like, "Yo, I like that shirt." His name was Tyson. He's like, "Yo, I want to buy it." I'm like, "It's the only shirt I got." He bought it off my back. So
Wow.
I took that. So I took them little dollars and I reinvested it, and I got another shirt. So I bought another shirt and I wore that, and I kept promoting on social media, and I kept telling people like, "Yo, I feel like I'm the GOAT. I feel like I'm the greatest of all time." And when I would walk down the street, people would be like, "Yo, what do the GOAT mean?" I'm like, "Whatever you do in life, be the greatest of all time. Strive for greatness and reach your full potential." And then I just kept believing in myself to the point to where people started believing in me. And then they started buying the product. And then I brought my cousin along, and we just started running it up and doubling it up. And then it got to the point to where I knew in 2015 that 2016, 2017, and 2018 was the year of self-love.
Right.
And so I started to market self-love on the GOAT page. I started to promote that on the GOAT page because I didn't want to create a social media because I feel like that would have been just too much work. And
Right.
I started that brand with $20. So I made a post and I reposted it on my Facebook and Instagram. I think it was about 3 or 4 years later, and telling people like, "Yo, I want to start a business with $20." And I said, I believe I can, because I want to show people it's not about what you have, it's about what you can do with the little bit that you do have. It's not what you don't have, but it's all about doing what you can with the little bit that you do have. And I did the same thing. I went to the mall, and the guy printed the self-love shirt for me, and I posted it online. And somebody hit me up like, "Yo, I want to buy that shirt." So I was like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, "I don't like, you want to buy it now?" He's like, "Yeah, I want that one." I was like, "That's the only one I have." He's like, "Well, I'll pay extra." And that's what happened. And
Wow.
and I just kept doubling up and doubling up. And yeah.
Amazing. You know, the thing that I'm telling you as I'm listening to your story, I'm getting kind of little pricklies going up and down my spine just to hear your process. And some of you guys that are listening in, I hope you guys are taking some notes, whether it's mental or physical notes, because his journey is really interesting. You know, he's spiritually inclined. He hears from God. He has a dream. He has a vision. And he begins to write it down. This is really, really essential to his story, because he writes it down. Then there's a moment of break in between that he didn't hear anything, but then it came back up again. And then he started making moves into what he was doing. This is key, essential to vision. Just because you get a vision, just because you get a dream, you have to move on it. You can have $1 billion idea, but if you do not make it an actual reality, then it's priceless. It's worthless. It has no value until it actually is proven itself into the market, and until it builds a demand, and then it becomes a $1 billion idea. Then it's just an idea. And so just to hear his story, and I hope that inspired you all that are listening in to his story, because his story is amazing, and he's really just getting started. But I'm going to pause here for just a quick moment. I'm going to give a word to our sponsor for a minute, so he can take a moment, clear his breath, his throat a little bit, because he's telling his story. And just let's pay the bills real quick and give a word to our sponsor. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Introducing Legacy Brand Consultants. Identifying the brand within. We offer vision planning assistance, strategies for increasing revenue, offer staff vision training, along with senior leader seminars. We conduct business development conferences, church expansion strategies. Also, business expansion strategies. We offer plans on increasing foot traffic with a rapid rate for success. Phase 1, vision creation. Phase 2, strategic outline. Phase 3, branding strategy. Phase 4, growth strategy. Phase 5, expansion planning. And Phase 6, the exit strategy. Schedule your consultation by calling 773-599-9388. Office hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let us help you identify the brand within.
Thank you guys for taking a quick moment to listen to that brief announcement by Legacy Brand Consultant. They have some great services that's going to help you push and expand your brand and your business and your ministries. So definitely give them a call at 773-599-9388, and they will help you to continue to expand your brands. So just to kind of, for you guys that are coming in, if you missed it, don't worry, you can go back and watch the replay. It is on Facebook. It is on YouTube, multiple pages on Facebook and on YouTube. So go back. There is some valuable information here that Nico Gray, which is our guest tonight, that's sharing his story on how he is building, creating legacy. So we're going to kind of dive back onto his story and history a little bit more. We kind of went over the 4 entities that you started, and then you built and created Self-Love brand. Now, I know Self-Love brand consists of community activism, your beverage company, your apparel brand, which you kind of went over already, and then you also mentioned children's books. So let's start from the community activism. Let's start there, and what you're doing in community activism, how you're impacting communities, what areas you can be seen in, and impacting areas.
As far as the community activists, you know, I just try to, like I said, I try to create solutions for the problems that we lack, especially in the Black community. Because I feel like we are the ones who are unappreciative, and we the ones that get overlooked. And just when you look at as a community standpoint, there's no Black community that exists in America. Because for something to be a Black community, you have to thrive. You have to have the school system, money have to circulate within that community X amount of times, and so forth on. And I was just fortunate enough, like I said, sleeping on my great grandmother's couch, and being able to go to a school that was a community. You know, we had a great school system, teachers who really cared. I had teachers that really cared about me and wanted to see me succeed. And I was able to see, like, yo, there's 2 worlds. There's a Black world and there's a white world, and there's a rich world and there's a poor world. And when I was able to go to the school, I experienced things that I didn't experience when I lived in Avondale, and I went to the Cincinnati Public Schools. And so far as the community activists, is, like I said, it's just solving problems. Right now, I have my Self-Love geothermal mineral water. And when I transitioned to becoming plant-based, I realized that the greatest invention to mankind was fire, and the most essential thing on earth is water. And a lot of us don't know what good quality water is. And since our body is made up of over 70% water, and oil to a car engine is what water is to our body. So the water thing happened really on accident, because I just started, when people started to see me transition to becoming plant-based. So I'm 3 years in the game now. And wow. I started drinking water, and it's like, and I started saying, yo, this is geothermal mineral water. And I said, you know, I started educating them on the importance of drinking good quality water, and why alkaline water isn't as hyped up to be as people portray it to be. And so people start saying, like, yo, you need to sell it. And I'm like, well, I really don't want to sell it, because I'm not here to pimp my people. I just want to, you know what I'm saying, show love to my people. And so I decided, okay, what's a way to sell it and not feel like I'm trying to pimp them? And how can I make it affordable for the people in the community that can't, that needs access to it. So I decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna bottle my water in glass, because for one, I don't drink out of plastic, because I believe plastic is awful for you and it's awful for the environment. And not only that, I decided to make my water affordable. So my water is like $3.50, but every time I sell a case of water, which 40 come in a case, I give a case back to the community for free. So that's when I came up with the 40-40. So if you go back, it's more spiritual. You know, God went in the wilderness fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. So that was like one of the things that I wanted to play off of for the 40 and for the 40 for 40. So and not only that, you know, I go around the communities and the youth, kids that's selling water, you know, I support them, give them money, I give them words of encouragement. I try to focus more on what they're doing good versus what they're doing bad, you know, because everybody always pointing the finger at what they should have, could have, or what they should and could be doing.
Oh, we lost our guest. We're going to give him a moment to come on back in. I hope it's a possibility that his battery died, but I'm going to give him a moment to come back in. If you guys are listening to his story, I tell you, it is inspiring to hear where he's come from, to hear, you know, his humble beginnings, to grow up in a family that that is entrepreneurs, you know, not all of them, but some of them, you know, to inspire him to go ahead and become an entrepreneur. And, you know, and he just started at a young age, and then he, you know, found himself into some trouble and wanted to get some fast money, and you know, and decided to, you know, go off into, you know, doing the street life. And, you know, interestingly enough, you know, a light bulb clicked on to say that this is not his life, this is not his purpose. And, you know, he begins to, you know, build brands. And he started his first one and got his vision. And he started making t-shirts. But he said something that I can attest to, that he said, you know, he got tired of working with the church because the church was kind of hurting his pockets a little bit. And it's sad enough that when you're dealing with the Christian community, that you endure some things like that occurs, or what have you. And, you know, it's just really unfortunate. And so he, you know, endured that process. And so for him to go through that and to bounce back, or what have you, is amazing for his story to be. And now he's now to fast track him up to what he's getting ready to come on now. He's coming on, but to fast track you up to what he was just saying, now he's doing his water brand, and he's finding ways to give back. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him back on. Look, we lost you for a moment. I brought them up to speed of what we were talking about. I tell you, it seemed like something is trying to kill us from making this live tonight. But I really, and I'm getting a lot of messages from people. You know, there was a friend of yours, a couple of people that follow you that said that they're proud of you by Marissa. Then Rita says, amazing, keep spreading love in the community, self-love, hashtag self-love, and hashtag be great. And I'll go ahead and bring that up on the screen so you can see. And then you have, you know, Marissa that puts up her post as well. And then on some other Facebook pages, we have some people that are really enjoying what she says. Love it. Exactly. We must believe in ourselves, self-love, you know. So we got a lot of people that is chiming in, that's posting their comments because they're really enjoying, and you are really inspiring a lot of people. So I know we kind of got cut off in the midst of you explaining about your water, that you do the 40 for 40. So you can go ahead and take over from there.
Okay, so yeah, so back to me explaining that before it cut off. But yeah, so the 40-40 is basically just, you know, just providing something essential for the people, educating them on how important water is to our body, understanding when you change the way you eat and you drink, when you change the the way you eat and drink, you change the way you think. And when you change the way you think, you have better control of your mind, which allow you to operate on a higher vibration and frequency. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Understanding that fast food, junk food is the number one killer. And understanding the importance of just good quality eating and good quality drinking. So with the water, that's all love. It's all spiritual. I actually don't really make money off of that. I just try to reinvest it back into the brand so that I can continue to expand it, and so that I can be able to provide a lot of water for a lot of different people at need. So I go around and I'll drop off cases. I have them in probably about 6 different locations. Naples, Florida. I have it in 4 different locations in Atlanta. I have it in 2 different locations in Cincinnati, and I'm working on a few other ones after the pandemic kind of lightened up.
Right. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And, you know, interestingly enough, you're only 3 years in, and, you know, as a rule of thumb for, you know, most businesses, be it small or even some large, that, you know, you really don't see profit margins until after 5 years or what have you. So you're building momentum and you're in a good place or what have you. You're getting it out there. You're getting people to get familiar with your brand. And yes, you might not necessarily take a loss, and you might break even, but you know, it's about consistency and building a brand. And I really believe that you're on the right trajectory. Me and you have already had a conversation, you know, and I just told you just about a couple hours ago, what I believe this is going to be happening for you really soon, because it's going to get in the right hands. And sometimes you need that extra push or that connection or somebody that got some wisdom. They can help you along to the next phase. So
100%.
I applaud you.
And I try to stay true. You know, it's not about the money for me. You know,
Right.
I got offered a nice amount of dollars for the phrase the GOAT and be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? People offer me a lot of money for that, but I'm just not going to sell because, you know, we're so quick to sell to the corporations. But I just want to show that a brand can start from nothing, stay true to his people. You know what I'm saying? Not pimp his people, make it affordable for his people. I'm always in the community. I'm always helping the youth. I'm always giving back. You know, and most people, they want to get to the top. You know, they only want to come back to the people when the main corporation dog them out and they suck them dry. And then they want to run back to the people that they forgot about and abandoned. And I never wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than just making a dollar. I understand when you create a product or a service that's essential, you create demand. And when you create demand, you generate revenue. And understanding that money is just a tool to fund my ambition. That's it. No more, no less. You know, I don't operate off of just the money aspect of it. I operate off of solving problems and creating a impossible, because the money will come. But to see a child happy because they wear my shirt, or me spray painting self-love around the city, and I'm getting messages on messages telling me, yo, like, I felt like I wanted to commit suicide, but when I walked past that self-love stamp, it reminded me to love myself. That's something that is priceless. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that we all trying to figure this thing out called life. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody truly know what life is. And, you know, we living in a society that was never designed for us to really, truly love ourselves, because it's all about work. And we such oppressed people. So I think it's important that I don't want to be that big machine. I can't complain about, you know, this beast, but I'm becoming it because I'm so driven off of money. And I didn't want to do a nonprofit because I believe in social enterprise, you know? So I believe in creating a product or service, making profit, but still being a better humanity.
Absolutely. Wow. You know, and you know, I know you all are listening. And I'm not going to ask him to reveal his age, but he is a young man full of wisdom. And, you know, and that's what drew me to connect to him, just because of our conversation, because he has a lot of wealth of wisdom, and I believe that that's going to take him very, very, very far. I know we've kind of went over the 8 o'clock time because we kind of started a little bit late, but I have two final questions before we get ready to end the broadcast. One of the questions I want to ask you: what is the next thing on the horizon for Nico Gray, or even your brands? What's the next phase that you're legally able to share? I'll say that.
I mean, just making sure I stay true to my people, making sure that I inspire children to be great no matter what they strive to do in life. I have Self-Love Cannabis that's getting ready to roll out in the next about 3 to 5 months. So Self-Love Cannabis will be out pretty soon. We're getting ready to purchase land to where we'll be able to pump out our own water and control our own source. And also, once the I didn't really want to say it yet, but once we're able to travel when they lift the ban, then I'll be going to Senegal, because I'm looking to build my own warehouse in Senegal, and then I'll be able to manufacture my own glass, so I don't have to worry about dealing with another outside entity, and then I'll be able to make my own shirts, and then we'll be able to employ some of the people in Africa and pay them what they deserve. They deserve, instead of paying them pennies on the dollar, we'll be able to pay them $10 an hour in American money. So it's a lot of stuff that we're working on right now. We have the sea moss drinks that's going very well right now. The sea moss drinks is flying off the shelf. We haven't even had the sea moss drinks go on for 2 months yet. It's probably hasn't even been a month yet, and we're selling out at 300 bottles in less than 3 hours. And we had them in different locations, and they'll have 84 bottles, and it is set out within like 40 minutes. And then we had a Self-Love water in all about 6-7 different locations, and they're selling out. So we have a lot of people hitting this up, but we just want to make sure that we stay true to what we believe in, and we want to make sure we take care of our peoples first before we hit the mainstream. The mainstream will come, but I believe in longevity, and I believe in I study some of the greats. I study the Walt Disneys. I studied the Hershey's. I studied Steve Jobs. And I read a lot of books, and I pay a lot of attention. So I feel like when you have something timeless, you don't have to rush perfection. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta stay true. You just gotta stay true and continue to keep grinding and grinding and look at it. Look at a 20-year plan. That's it.
Wow. Amazing. Now, one of the questions that I ask all of my guests, which is going to be a very real question. But before I ask you that question, everybody, if you look at the bottom of the screen, I want you to look at the website addresses. They're right here on the bottom. The website addresses there show you the addresses and the email addresses and the Instagram and the social media. I want you to blow his pages up, support his product, support his brand. I believe in what it is that he's doing. Everybody that comes on the show, I believe in what they're doing, and I believe that he's going to go very, very, very far. So keep this name. Remember that you heard it here on the Legacy Builder series, because he is definitely, truly someone that is building and creating legacy, and I definitely am godly proud of him and where he's going. So we don't keep you on too long. My last question that I want to ask you, which I said it's going to be a serious question, and I want you to kind of, if you need to take a second to think about it and share it, by all means. But before you leave this earth, or when you leave this earth, what is it that you want to be remembered by? What type of legacy do you want to leave behind when you transition?
That's a good question. I feel like as long as I do God's work, a legacy don't matter to me. You know, I feel like as long as I do God's work, and I think that's my ultimate legacy, just doing God's work. You know, because I don't want to work so hard trying to create a legacy for someone that may not appreciate it. You know,
Right.
I watch so many people work so hard and build this beast, and then next thing you know, the people they leave it behind, like I said, don't appreciate it. But as long as I do God's work, then that's the greatest legacy on earth. You know what I'm saying? And also teaching, if I decide to have children, to teach them how to create their own legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
I think that's the main thing, is them being able to see in real time that if I can do it, you can do it, and you can be just as great as me, and do way more than me. So my legacy is just, I guess that's it. I think that's it. That I don't even know what else to say, but just do God's work and showing other people that they can create their own legacy. Being able to be self-sustainable, not have to rely on, you know, somebody else. Create your own legacy, and that can be whatever. That could just be being a great person, you know. That could be a business,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want your legacy to be, and what for me, it's just doing God's work. That's it. Fulfilling my childhood creativity and imagination. Everything that I said I wanted to do as a child, I'm starting to do it. And I don't have any investors. I have a 6-figure company. I never had a celebrity cosign, and I just did it out of the love, and I grinded, and I stayed true, and I stayed real, and I didn't compromise my morals and my values and my integrity. And when people thought I was just talking, I made it happen, and I turned non-believers into believers. So that's all I can say.
Absolutely. Wow. Amazing. So as you see on the screen, you guys, I wanted you to see the part of the legacy that he's building, and this is his self-love water that he has been talking about. I didn't get a chance to put up some other things. I was kind of scrambling to put this up right in this moment while he was talking, but I want you to support this brand, Self-Love. Share it. Take a screenshot of it. Go on his live. Share it on your Facebook pages. Tag it to friends, people that are trying to live healthier lives, that are having health issues or anything of that sort, that need something that is clean, that's pure, that's healthy, that's going to help them in the digestive tract or whatever. Support this brand, support this water, because he's doing some great things. He's going very, very, very far. And like I said, you heard him here tonight, and you heard his story. And be on the lookout. Again, Nico Gray, be on the lookout for Self Heart water, because I'm telling you, it's going to be in stores. It's going to be, and even if he has to do it himself, or if he gets a co-packer, or if he gets whatever, it's going to be known. It's definitely going to be known. So thank you so much, my friend, for coming on tonight, sharing your story. Again, you have some more people that's on here that's sharing their comments, that people, really appreciate you, and they love you for what it is that you're doing. And you are inspiring many, many people across the world, even on this live tonight. So again, thank you guys for coming on tonight, for being with us tonight. Since we got a few minutes before the broadcast, and I'm going to let my co-host go, I'm going to play this inspirational message. Actually, when I kind of heard it, it reminded me of him. At the same time, it empowered me, or what have you. And so the way this message, this inspirational message is, it just really speaks volumes to even what he's talking about tonight. So again, support the Self Heart brand. I'm gonna bring it back up on the screen. Support this brand, support his water. Again, he is currently right now in Florida. He's in Cincinnati, and he's in Atlanta, and he's working his way through other cities and other territories. So be on the lookout for this brand. It's going to be reaching all across the nations very, very soon. Thank you, my brother, again, for coming on, and stay tuned to this motivational speech before we end the broadcast. You guys have a great rest of your night.
Every morning, I rise. My feet touch the floor. I'm prepared for war, prepared to grow, ready for more. Average will never live in me. I'll show all you doubts. I will fight. I will win. You will see. I'm ready to give. Give all I have. I was born ready. Ready to contribute. Ready to create. Ready to grow. Can't stop. Won't slow. Greatness was never achieved by those who took the easy road. I flicked that switch, turned on beast mode. I know I must work. I know I must push. I know I must sacrifice. I will work. I will push. I will sacrifice. Never will I take advantage. I add value to all. I give my all for the benefit of all. I'll never take advantage. I'll never drop the ball. I'll lead with integrity. I will stand tall. My legacy is on the line. My pride is on the line. My integrity is on the line. My life is on the line. Never will I settle for less than I can be. Average will never, ever live in me. It's what I fear the most, being like the rest. I will not rest until I'm better than the very best. Until I'm better than yesterday. Then I'll catch my breath, recharge, and go again. Go harder, learn more, grow more, so I can give more, so I can be proud, so I can be proud of what I've become. Proud because I've always given my all. Whether I lost or won, I kept going. I showed heart. I showed courage. I showed what I was made of. That's why I'm proud. I did it my way, not the easy way. My way. I didn't listen to others, my father or mother. I did what's best for me. I worked for it. I fought for it. I created my own legacy.
Thank you for viewing the Legacy Builders series. Tune in July through August, Mondays and/or Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with special guest panelists to appear. Till next time, go forth and build legacy.